movie music. People that love film history, that's another thing. That's a huge, huge thing for me. People that love world history, that's even, to find people that actually care about that is hard these days. But, so for me, it's very important the people I choose to work with have to feel that, have to understand that, and have to kind of have that in them as well. And I found that in JJ, I found it in Brad Bird, Pete Docter, all these guys, all the Pixar guys, all the guys I work with, they're all like that. They love it as much as I do. So I think that that's kind of why that shows in the films that I work on. Because they want it as badly as I do. They love that as much as I do. So they give me that freedom to do it, which is great. But you're right, not enough people allow that to happen and other stuff. So.
Anyone else? Anthony, are you asking a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
You forgot to ask one.
Let's have it.
A lot of fans are talking about Klingons being in the next movie. There's a lot of buzz about that. And obviously, there were some deleted scenes with Klingons. So the question is, did you write any music for those scenes? And if so, can you talk about that? And might that be, if there were Klingons in the next movie, would that be your starting point?
I did write music for those scenes, and it's interesting because I think that it's not music that I would ever want anyone to hear, because I was writing those scenes and not feeling right about what was going on, because I was like, I'm trying to latch onto this, and there's a reason. King Kong is such a perfect movie, right? King Kong, the original. I'm going to repeat that. The original is such a perfect film, And so when they go to make the new one, and they're talking, oh, we're going to add in the lost scenes, this and that. No, the reason those scenes are gone is because it didn't help the film. You don't go adding them back in. Why would you do that? That's like, it's kind of crazy. And in this film, the reason those scenes are gone is because it didn't help the film. It didn't work. And what I wrote for them wasn't that good because it wasn't working to begin with, So I'm happy to have that stuff gone and missing from my life. And when and if they do bring Klingons back, I know that it'll be for the right reasons, and then it'll be part of the story, and then it'll be easier for me to write music because I'll have something to react to. As I was explaining before about just kind of explaining how I feel about something. Whereas in those scenes, I kind of was manufacturing an emotion, and I never felt good about what I was doing. But it all worked out in the end because they never were, never meant to be in the film anyway. It just wasn't meant to be. So it kind of works itself out on that stuff.
Okay. Anyone else?
Not to, say anything bad about the new
You
film.
said Brad Bird. Did you work on The Incredibles?
Yes.
Did you really?
I really did.
That soundtrack is so great.
Thanks. Thank you.
Oh my God.
That's a love letter to everything I loved about the '60s in film score. So.
Oh my God, it was great. I had no idea that was you.
There you go.
Was there any other album after you heard the Star Wars album since that that's really jolted you, like that's really cool? Like for me, it was Chariots of Fire, like that weird sound.
Yeah, that's a great one. I love Ben-Hur is huge for me. That was one. I remember when I found that one in the basement. I was like, what is this? Looking at the cover and everything. And why my dad even had that, I have no idea. But I'm so glad he did. I know this is going to sound so crazy, but I'm going to mention The Music Man. Was Meredith Willson was such a good score. The song's unbelievable. Of course, the Sherman Brothers. Come on, those guys, unbelievable. I had the Jungle Book album, and then George Bruns, who also worked on the score for that. Oliver Wallace for Peter Pan is one of my other absolute favorite scores for the original Disney one. That's one of my favorites. I just love it. And actually, what we did, there was a great thing. We were recording up. We found that we were going to get done a little bit early. So I had the guys at the Disney Archives pulled out the original scores for Peter Pan, and we passed them all out. We had a copy, passed it all out to the orchestra, and it was great. So me, Pete Docter, and Jonas Rivera, who produced it, were like out there on the stage, and we're with the orchestra, and it was like, we said, we're going to play this thing, because I've only ever heard it like in mono, and I was like, I want to hear this for real. I want to hear what this really sounds like. So we pulled it out and we brought in the whole orchestra, played the whole opening cue to Peter Pan, and it was the most amazing experience I ever. It was like bringing something back from the dead, you know. It was incredible.
And did you record it?
We did record it, yes, we did. Yes. You know, and really we just did it for fun, and it was so funny because you know there's people around going, we're spending money on this, what? You know? But we were all just like little kids, like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. It was, you know, and again, and that's another great thing about Pete Docter. He absolutely loves the history of Disney and what the musical history of Disney is and what it means to the company. I mean, we've got. It's hard to find someone who respects and understands it more than Pete. He's just amazing at it. And so for everybody, that was just a great moment too. So, you know, yeah. Yes.
Okay, I got another one.
Uh-oh.
You
Romulan
said-
music. What is
You
it?
said, Reagan music, no. You said that a decision was made to use the Alexander Kirk music at the end because that's when the film deserved it, kind of, when they were all together. Do you feel more free in the sequel to reach back and grab stings here and there, like you did in Mission Impossible 3, to weave them more anywhere it goes in the film?
Are you going to use the fight music? It's gotta be one of those.
No, you're right. It should be.
Before
I know.
I actually asked J.J. Abrams, and I thought this was a fair question before I saw the movie.
If Kirk did a flying drop kick in the movie,
Right.
and he thought that was a dumb question. He literally was like, laughs. That's really ridiculous. So isn't that a question you shouldn't you have done a flying drop kick in this movie? There were many opportunities.
I forget. Did you have his shirt slit at any point?
Maybe, but I mean, he should have kicked Nero off of.
Yeah.
That should have been the climax of the movie. Sorry.
It's a personal pet peeve.
The simple answer is I have no idea until I see the film. You know what I mean? I don't know what the film needs, what it asks for until I see it. So I could sit here and go, yeah, God, I hope so. That would be really fun to find a moment to do something like that. And certainly we all as fans deserve that kind of fun. You know, when you're seeing it, it's fun to kind of recognize those kinds of things. So yeah, I don't know. I hope so. I can't say yes or no.
Well, Jeff brought up the Freed or Fried?
Freed.
Fight music, which has been used
You couldn't do that.
in comedies, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Do you feel that?
Well, I mean,
do you feel that you run a risk of turning it into parody if you go too far?
Well, yeah, you always want to watch for that because if you do that, you're not paying attention to the story, you know, and that's what we're all supposed. That's our number one job is to take care of the story. So if it is going to ruin that, then yeah, you don't do it. But you never know. You might be able to orchestrate it in a much bigger way where it suddenly doesn't sound like what you're used to hearing, but it is still the same thing, you know. Because that music, you know, it only sounds funny to us like that now when you put it against things because we know it so well. We know it as it was so well. But you could do something different with it, I think. Still hint at it, still have the soul of it without kind of making fun of it. You can do it seriously, I'm sure.
Anybody else?
Just one last question. With this film that we're going to look at, was there a particular scene where you just go, oh, I nailed that. I really love how that worked.
No, basically after I write a piece of music for a scene, I basically go, okay, that's done. I'm not looking at that again. I either nailed it or screwed it up. Other people will tell me what I did. You know, that's for you guys to tell me what I screwed up. But I generally, if I'm being true to how I feel about what I'm writing, then I usually don't, it's not an issue for me. I usually don't, I feel like I go, okay, well, I just told you how I felt. Next cue, you know? And because there is no right or wrong to that, you know? That's what it is.
What I mean is like you're done and you're watching the movie and you're experiencing it.
I like watching it with an audience, you know? When the film first came out, it is fun to go in, because it was a hard movie to do. It was a hard movie to work on. It was really tough to the end. And when it was over, I was like, God, I just need a rest. I need a break from this. I don't want to. But then when I saw it with an audience for the first time, I was like, oh, that was really fun. You know, they seemed to like that. It was really, and it kind of gave me a renewed